All right, that is our time, y'all. We are going to get started. Welcome to our From Chaos to Clarity, Unlocking the Power of the Command Task Manager. I am so excited to bring this class to y'all today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Stephen Delisio. I am the Market Center Tech Trainer for the Keller Williams Downtown and Keller Williams Advantage office. And I am here to help you become a little bit more systematic in the things that you're doing in your business. I often hear that agents need systems, and systems really can't happen unless you have a task manager or if you are task oriented, because the systems rely on the things that you do. It's not all automation and the computer sending messages and doing other things like that or emails. Our clients want to hear from us. Our clients want to interact with us personally. And it's really hard to interact with the dozens, the hundreds of people that are in your world and remember to do so for all those people if you don't have something else reminding us, because our brains, our heads are not built that well for dozens and dozens of relationships like this. And so today I want you to get out of this class that the task manager is your place to be more systematic. You don't need systems necessarily to start before you are task oriented, because the systems are going to rely on your ability to complete the tasks that you build into those systems. But you can start simple. And if you are not oriented in that way now, this is the place to start. This is where you are going to start becoming more systematic in your business when you are having a tool remind you to do the things that you know you need to do, the things that you want to do and you need to do to follow up with people and create the business that is systematically going to create more deals, more units closed through your real estate business. And my real goal is to show you that this is simpler than you think. This is part of your business that can really change the way that your world is if you engage with this. And so let's get into what we're going to go over today. We're going to start off by just showing you the three ways that tasks are created in our task manager in Command. There are three different pieces where it's either going to be a manual task, a task created by a smart plan, or a task that's created by your opportunities checklist. And you might not be ready for some of those other systematic pieces like the opportunity checklist, and that's okay. This is just going to show you what the task manager can do. And if you need a little bit of help creating some of these other systems through smart plans, through the opportunities checklist, that's what you should do. That's when you should set up a meeting with me, a one-on-one where we can sit down and build your system out for when X happens, you know that Y, Z are going to be added to your task list. After we see how they're created, we're going to show you how to manage those tasks. Because often I see agents' task lists bombarded with past due tasks. And maybe that's you. Maybe that's why you're here today, because you've seen your task list filled up, but you've never completed the task, or you've only completed a few of those tasks. And then, time permitting, we're going to take a look at Command Mobile. Because for me, I know I'm much better at completing tasks that are going to be right in my pocket, that are in my cell phone, where I can jump on and complete the task list. Because everything that you see on the screen today inside of Command on your computer, they exist in your phone as well. They exist on your phone that you can make the calls, you can make the text messages happen, you can complete all of these tasks right from your phone. So you don't have to be at your desk in front of your computer to do all of this. All you need is your cell phone and Command Mobile to manage your business. And so let's get into it. But first, we have to talk about time, your time, because all of these tasks do not matter. You can set all the tasks in the world, but if you do not create time to make these tasks happen, to complete the tasks, they are just going to fill up your task list and they're going to frustrate you and you're going to give up on utilizing this tool. And so the number one thing that you can get from this class is assign time in your world to complete these tasks. You're going to have them, You're going to have a list to get done, calls to make, text messages to send, emails to send, postcards, all the other things that we worry about that we need to do for our business. You can create a reminder to do so that it shows up on the day it needs to be done. It shows up on maybe even the days before it needs to be done so that you know you have some time to do it. And honestly, y'all, the easiest way to do this, because the command task manager is not going to ping you in your phone and say, do this. It's just going to show up. But the best system that I've used for a long time and that I see many agents use is defining time in their calendar that they know this is the time each day that I work that I'm going to engage with my task list, meaning that you're going to go in there and do the tasks. It needs time. They don't happen on their own. This is for you to be more systematic. But if you don't make the time to get them done and you try and squeeze it in here and there, you're going to end up failing in this endeavor to be more systematic. The first part is being more systematic in your time, in scheduling time to do this. And it's very simple, y'all. It's maybe 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon. It might be an hour in the afternoon that you knock out these tasks. But the point is you need to define the time of when this is going to happen because it won't happen on its own. You will not just find the time in the day to knock out a list of 30, 40 tasks. But here's the kicker for that. It brings freedom to your world. So often I see real estate agents working late into the afternoons, sacrificing their time with their families, their friends, and their own self because they don't know when to be done. And our task list gives us the idea and the notion that we're done for the day. We've completed everything that needs to be done that day. And it brings freedom into our world. It brings a closure to our day when you can make this happen and define the time, get the task done. Because when the task list is empty and it's the end of the day, you know you've done your part for your business. And so make sure that scheduling this time regularly, use your digital calendars. You can go in there and set time blocks that will repeat each day, but not on the weekends or on the weekends. It's all about you and how you're going to get this done, because when it happens is not as important as that it happens. And defining the time is the first step to actually make this happen, because the rest of the stuff I show you will not matter if you do not make time to go look at your task list, period. That is the cut and dry of all of this. That's all I'll say about it. I won't hound on y'all anymore on your time outside of this. So let's get started and learn a little bit about the task manager. Block out time in your schedule 2 times per day. That's your slide to remind you that twice a day is usually best, because I know that sometimes in the morning we don't get a hold of people. We don't get to actually communicate or we do the task, but we might not get the response that we want. And so I won't complete the task if I have a call task or something like that I need to do and I'm waiting to actually interact. I might leave it as incomplete until my afternoon time block, where I might try again. And so twice a day seems to be best for most agents, morning and afternoon. What that means to you is specific to you. And so use this as a building block to be more systematic in your business. All right, so we're going to talk about how tasks are created. I'm going to show you how to manually create a task, how smart plans create the tasks, and the opportunity checklist as well. And I've set my opportunity checklist up before this, where yours is not going to act like this unless you build it into your command, because by default, it's not going to remind you to do this, but there's a new feature in command that came out just a few weeks ago called Smart Due Dates. And I'm going to show you what that looks like and how powerful it can be in your business, from just simple things like setting the appointment and knowing all the things that need to happen after you set that appointment. And so let's get into it. We're going to share my screen. I'm going to open up my command. I apologize for my very messy screen. I know it stresses some agents out. I'm in here doing all kinds of stuff. And so let's start off by getting into command, agent.kw.com. And our task manager, our task manager lives right over here on the left side of the screen. You can see it's in tasks. Often I see agents see their task list on their dashboard that I'm highlighting here on the screen, and they think this is the only place to get to your tasks. This is just a widget that helps you see what's due today. That's all. That's all this is here for you. But the actual task list lives over here on the left side of the screen, where you have a lot more options to engage with this list. A lot more options to curate, to manage all of these lists. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a task manually. And you can create tasks right from this screen. You see at the top right corner of the screen, there's my task. But I'll be honest, that's not really how agents make a task. Usually, it's when you've communicated with a contact at some point, a text message, a phone call, or something like that, and you're going to set the next task for your interaction after that. And so usually it actually happens in the contact screen, and Command is set up to help you do that. So let's click on my contact here, and you can see over to the right side of the screen, when we're inside of a contact, we can click on tasks. We have a little not folder, excuse me, a tab over to the right side of the screen that says tasks. When we click on that, it'll show you all the tasks that are scheduled, future and present, for that contact. And you'll notice right here that there is a create task button. And so let's create a task for myself. And so we click on create task and it opens up, and the first thing we need to do is name that task. And the most common task that you're going to create manually is going to be one that sounds just like this: follow up with buying in the spring, or whatever it is that you're following up. But generally it's a follow-up task. You can see in here, I'm going to set the task type. Is it a call? Is it a text message? Or is it other? And this part here for call and text is really important if you're using the command mobile task list, because you can actually just hit a call button when it's a call task, a text button when it's a text task. And so setting this is important, and we'll set this as a call. We have the option to set a description. I usually like to put in a little information to remind me about what I might be calling them about, what I might be following up with them about, or if there's anything else. If it's a text message, I might even put the exact message I want to send them in here so that I can copy and paste it into my phone when it's time to send. I might even put the script of the call that excuse me, I'm not supposed to say scripts, y'all. I might even put the conversation or the dialogue that I want to say on the phone call right in here to remind me of the conversation that I want to have. But your description is open and there for you to help you remember what this task is for. Because sometimes we set tasks that are months out. Somebody tells us they want to sell their house in the spring. Well, I'm going to probably follow up with them in the winter time. But it might be months before or months from now that I'm doing that. And I might need a little reminder saying, Stephen wants to buy in the spring. Follow up on the credit and finance journey. Anything like that to help remind me. We also have the ability to put a hyperlink in here. It's very rarely that I actually use this, y'all. I don't put hyperlinks in here, but I do use it when I use like my events and I have a link that I might be sending to them to register, and having it right in front of me instead of having to go to my Calendly page and then go find the link. I might just drop the link right here so it's right there in the task when I create it. And so we're just going to put one in just for example's sake. And that's the link just to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me that I can drop in real quick. But then it gets to the important stuff. This is the important stuff that you need to learn about creating tasks. Is number one is the priority level. Priority level helps us organize our tasks when we have a whole list to complete in a day, and we might want to only see the high priority tasks that we have for that day. Setting your priorities will help you organize your tasks to know what's most important. And so setting these levels is really, really helpful to make sure that you get the right things done. You'll hear about your top 20%. My high level tasks are top 20% activities. Now below that, we have our due date. And our due dates are very simple. You have just the simple calendar date. where you can choose when that's due. And we're going to just choose tomorrow, excuse me, in our example, so that you can see it's just a date choice. But you also might note that it says due time all day. So this doesn't actually have a due time. For a lot of my tasks, I don't mind what time of day it's done. If you do need a task done by a certain time, you can uncheck that box and then you can change this time and say this needs to be done by 4:59 p.m. that day. That means it won't go past due until 4:59 that day. If I don't get it done by 4:59, it will switch from due today to due or to past due. Now, my favorite part of command that they've updated in the task manager in the last year is this piece right here, y'all, repeating tasks. So often we need to remind ourselves to do the same thing over and over again. And now we can create tasks that do so. That when I check this task off, another one will be automatically created in the frequency I define in this menu. And so let's take a look at the options here. So daily, you can assume that that's exactly what it sounds like. Daily means if I complete it today, another one will be added to my list tomorrow. And if I complete that one, the next one will be added and the next one every day. Weekly on Friday, monthly on the last Friday, yearly on October 25th, custom. And the custom one is really where you're going to probably get the most leverage out of, because take a look at the options we have for custom. We can choose the repetition from 1, 2, 3, 4, however many weeks, days, months, or even years that these tasks will show up in the frequency that you define in the repeating step. Now, from there, we can decide, does it need to repeat on a certain day of the week? It's going to repeat every 3 weeks on Wednesday, or it might repeat every 3 weeks on Monday, or if we switch to months, you can see I can also change it to repeat on the 25th, or I might have it repeat on the last Friday, or maybe the fourth Friday of each month. So many options to help you be systematic. And this is important because so often agents want to do certain tasks certain days of the week. For instance, we might have our buyer follow-up set for Wednesday afternoons. And every Wednesday afternoon is when we want to make our buyer calls, our buyer follow-ups. So we would come in here and say on the 4th Wednesday is when this is going to fall, or this is going to fire off in our task list. And then from there, you can decide how long it repeats. Is it going to never end? You would choose never. If you want it to end by a certain date, like in our example, if they said they're going to buy in the spring, I'm going to have this end closer to the springtime. I might say at the end of March. It's going to remind me every month on the 4th Wednesday to do this task until March 31st. So when April comes around, I won't see another one of these tasks. And most likely, that's fine, because if the buyer is on schedule, then we know that we're probably going to be setting more follow-ups manually when we're continuing to talk to them every month until that time. It might go faster, it might get extended, but you have the ability to be flexible in this situation. And the last option we have is our occurrences. We can also say how many times. So if we want to be reminded every 3 months for 12 occurrences, well, that's going to actually last 4 years. Hopefully, we're not having to follow up with a buyer for 4 years, but if you need to, it's in there. Or we can drop this down and say, do this for 3 months in a row. Do this for 5 months. Every 4th Wednesday for 5 months in a row, this will remind us to set those tasks. And you have lots and lots of options to customize this for each individual task that you create. And so we're going to hit cancel on this one just because we're going to make this a simple task, not to repeat. We're going to make it an all day task, and we're going to set this one up. And let me make sure that's for tomorrow, correct? And we'll hit create. Hope it didn't like my link. Why didn't it like my link? I don't know. Well, let's not slow down. We got a lot to go over. We'll just hit create. And there you see it pop up right here in my list. If I come back to my task list where we started in our task manager, you'll see that that task is also, oh, got to click on the right button. You see it's added right down here at the very bottom, and it's listed last because I have other tasks that are past due and due today. That you see them right here. Oh, there's my task, teach from chaos to clarity. That's this class right now. Great reminder for myself. All right. So just another reminder, if you have any questions about what I've been going over or what I'm going over currently, use the chat inside of Zoom to ask your questions. And if you have any questions, feel free to pull those up. I'll double check the messages. I don't see any questions right now. So I'm going to assume that we don't have any questions yet, but if they pop up, use that chat. It's okay if you have a question later on or if something pops into your head, ask it inside of the chat for me. All right. Now, the other way that tasks are going to show up most often for you is through smart plans. Smart plans have the ability to remind us on a timeline to do the tasks that we want to do, whether that's phone calls, emails, text messages, anything that you need to do yourself is going to show up in your task list from smart plans. And this will be important as well when we get into managing our tasks, because there's ways to tell which tasks were created manually and which tasks were created by a smart plan. But let's start off by going back to my contact, and I'll just open up another window from that task here where you see here's my contact inside of command, and I'm going to put myself on a smart plan. And so I'm going to go in here and hit add to smart plan. And for this example, we're going to pretend that I am an open house lead. And I'm going to put myself on the open house smart plan. And let me make sure I choose the correct smart plan here. And we're going to look for our my open house smart plan. And we're going to use this one right here. And we're going to select. And I'm just going to start this one now as if I met this contact at the open house today and hit confirm. So now they're added to this smart plan. I'm going to refresh the screen so y'all can see that. Now we see the one here highlighted underneath my mouse, and it says that they're on this smart plan. And let's take a look at what this smart plan does. The first task that it does, it says create text task. It's reminding me to send a text message. It's also going to remind me to make the phone call that same day. You'll see that as it goes, there are other messages and other tasks to be done, and they will fire off on the timeline that I mentioned before, day 1, day 3, day 7. You can see the power of the smart plan is one that instead of just creating a task that has a consistent frequency rotation like our repeating tasks, we can be a little bit more dynamic here. We can have a task show up on day 1, then 3, then 7, then 10, then 14. As it goes down, you can see that smart plans have a little bit more power to customize the timing and the frequency of what the plan does, as well as sending emails for you, as well as sending text messages for you. Some of the texts that are in here are automatic. You do need to use Twilio if you want automatic text messages to go out. But for many of the text messages that I send, I want to send them personally through my cell phone number, not my Twilio phone number. And so you got to understand the difference between those when you're building the plan. And I'm always available to help you all build plans and help you understand what that plan's going to do, build it out so it is the exact system that you want. But again, if you don't have systems now, this is where you start. You start by just creating the tasks one at a time, and then eventually you will fall into your own system. You will see that, well, every time I run an open house, I text them the day that they show up to the open house, and then 3 days later, I send them a phone call, or I make a phone call to connect with them, and then a week later, I also send them a phone call and make a phone call to them to chat a little bit about what they might be doing this weekend, what open houses they're looking at. There's so much ability to structure your systems inside of command. But again, it all falls back then on your task list. So let's take a look back at my task list where we now see 2 more additional tasks that were just added into our system. And there they are. I love being in here where I can just click on the task, and you can see when I click on the name, it gives me all the information that's in there, the priority, the due date, the type, the description we mentioned earlier. And you can see right here, created by my open house follow-up plan. So if you want to know, oh, where did that task come from? Did I set it myself? Or did that come from a smart plan? Well, you can see right here, this is from a smart plan. That's how I know, okay, that gives me a little bit more information. I also love this right here. When we open up the task, it shows us our last note that we put into the system. And here it says, I met Stephen at the open house on 11th on Saturday, 10/19/24. They were just looking as neighbors, but had a good convo about them liking how quiet the neighborhood is and that it's close to everything. And so, I'm going to use this information that I talked with them when I call them in this task or send them a text message. I'm going to probably reference this information to help that familiarity come through to the client, to the customer, I guess, at this point. So great way to just see what is going on in your tasks. You'll notice here, you can also edit the task if necessary, or complete the task right from this screen. And we'll talk about other ways to complete and edit and all of that as well. But now you've seen how you manually create a task, how you use a smart plan to create a task, and the last option is going to be tasks that come from your opportunities. And so let's see how that works, because this is the one that I really am excited about with the smart due dates. And you'll see what those mean in the example I'm about to do. And so we're going to jump over to my personal account and we're going to create an opportunity. Here's the situation we're going to roll through for this example. We just talked to a buyer and we just set an appointment with them. They want to buy a home and we just set an appointment. And my best advice for you for opportunities, because many agents choose to never really touch this system and their TC takes care of the under contract and close parts and they don't do anything in here. You're making a mistake because this is your business pipeline. If you want to become more systematic with your follow-up, which is connecting with people who have already told you that they want to buy or sell, you need to start using your opportunities pipeline. And we have classes that will come out about that in 2025. Don't worry, y'all, I got you. We're going to have even more education on this, but I want you to see the power of it now. And so let's start off by creating an opportunity. And we're going to create an opportunity here for a buyer, and the client's going to be my friend Gary. Good guy, some of you might know him. We're going to say that Gary is our contact. He's buying a home, and we're going to make this nice and easy. His estimated close date, we're just going to set into the future. He wants to buy next month by the 30th. Time frame is 1 month. Budget's going to be $1 million. And the commission rate's going to be 3%. This is not a number you need to do. This is just an example of a number that could go in here. And then we're going to choose what phase they're in. Are they in the cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, or closed? And like I said, you can start being more systematic where the easy place to do this is when you set an appointment, add them to your pipeline. And we're going to say the appointment phase, and we're going to drop him in to scheduled. And here's the fun stuff. It's about to happen, y'all. We're just going to create the opportunity. This is not a class about opportunities. This is a class about tasks. And so let's jump back to our task list now that this has been created. And now you're going to see a whole bunch of additional tasks that have been set up for me. Do you see all these here that you can tell that they're from the opportunity? Because when we zoom in right here, do you see the little handshake next to his name instead of the little person? That tells me that it's from an opportunity and not from a smart plan or a manual task. All these manual ones have a person next to them because they were created in contacts or smart plans. But all of these for Gary, these were all created in the opportunity. But also notice when I have them set through an opportunity, there's no due date on them, which, boy, that's a pain to have 12 different tasks show up but have no due date. It's good if you just are in here, but I want those due dates to show up so I know that what tasks are important now. And so let me show you what smart due dates mean. So let's go back to the opportunity. We're going to find Gary in my appointment pipeline. There he is in our scheduled task. And here's where the smart due dates come in. We're going to come into Gary's details. We're going to click on this pencil right here in the center of the screen because we need to put in the dates that when we set the appointment and when the appointment will be held. And then you're going to see some magic happen. So let's put in the date. We're going to pretend like we set the appointment yesterday and that we held the appointment today. And then we're going to hit save. And now we're going to go back to our task list and see how those smart due dates have now affected the due dates of my tasks. Let's go back to tasks. And now, when we look at Gary's tasks, because my appointment was set yesterday, I have some past due. I need to get on some of these because I've set my opportunities checklist up that when I set an appointment based on the date I set on the appointment is going to put all these different tasks into my into my task manager. But now you see everything has a due date. Those smart due dates are so cool. Such a great way to set up your opportunities pipeline. And again, this class is about the task itself. But if this is really intriguing to you, this is a great excuse to sit down with me for a 30-minute or 60-minute one-on-one. This is a great excuse that when you hear me tell you that we're going to be talking about the build a 100K pipeline in 90 days class that'll come out early next year, that you join in on that class so you can see how you build out your smart due dates and build out your checklist so that when you set an appointment, when you hold an appointment, when you sign an agency, all the different key steps in a transaction, that tasks that you know need to be done, that you know you need to do, that keep you systematic so everyone gets the same experience, that those things happen for every person, not just the ones that you remember to do it for in your head. It sets it for every person. And so that's it. That's how you create tasks, y'all. There's not any other magic or science to it. There's a little bit of magic in the smart due dates. But beyond that, now we have a nice full task list that we need to learn how to manage. And so let me double check and make sure that we don't have any questions in the chat. Let's see. All right, looks like Kevin's having some trouble. Let's see, or Gil's having some trouble. Yep, Kevin's got you there. Gil, you should see this on Zoom. And Kristen, I see your question about tracking referrals in opportunities. The best way to do that would just be to create an opportunity that you tag as a referral inside there that you can then track in a very similar way. Now, there's a lot of details in that statement of how that is done and the intricacies of it that we don't have time to talk about today. But yes, the easiest way is just to create an opportunity in your opportunities section that can then fire off some of these tasks. And there's some different, like I said, there's a lot of intricacy in there, a lot of details that we can make it specific for referrals, but it takes a little bit of setup that'll be specific to your needs. And so, yes, on that question, let's see. If Twilio is connected, can it send out the smart plan text? Yes, it absolutely can. If you have Twilio connected, you can just create text messages that send automatically. The warning there is it does not send from your cell phone number. It is sending from your Twilio number, which is a different phone number than your cell phone. So you have to be aware of that. And there are certain situations that I say it's great to send the automated text message from Twilio. There are other situations, specifically when I want to create a conversation with someone, I'm never using Twilio to create a conversation. I'm using Twilio to deliver information, but I'm not trying to create a conversation with my automated text messages there. Let's see, we have some other questions in here. Okay, lots of those. Good, good, good. Okay. Okay, I think I got all the questions answered. Are there any other questions that we want to unmute and ask before we get into talking about how to manage these tasks? All right, let's talk about management. So now we have a nice full task list full of all the different things we need to do, from past due tasks to due today tasks to tasks that are due in the future in the next 7 days. And it doesn't look like I have anything else into the future right now. And so let's talk about what we can do when we're in this screen here. So number one, we need to go over some of the tabs up at the top that are just helpful to know. You have 3 tabs across the top of your task manager. To do, completed, which this shows you a list of all of your completed tasks, and then your archive tasks, tasks that you decided that you weren't going to do, that you wanted to get out of your way, that you wanted to get rid of. If you're an agent who has a bunch of old tasks sitting in your task manager, you're going to want to archive them. But just remember that they're not deleted. If you need to come back in here to the archive tasks and click on here and unarchive a task, that's perfectly fine to do. You can even do it in bulk. If there are multiple tasks that you want to unarchive, all you have to do is select the task that you want to unarchive, and you'll see down right here at the bottom right corner where we can unarchive that group, or if you do want to delete them completely, where they're gone, not being able to get back again, you can delete these tasks as well. Otherwise, that's all this piece does in archived is you can either unarchive or delete. Those are your only options. In the completed tasks, we have a couple of options here as well, where we can select multiple tasks as well. And you might need to mark them as incomplete, that maybe it was an accident, maybe you didn't actually do that task and you need to bring it back. You can do it in bulk. You can also do it one at a time just by unselecting the green check mark. And so let's unselect test. Unselect tests, you see it'll be gone from this list. And then those tasks are then dropped right back in to our normal to-do list right in here. And one of the first things you might want to do when you have a full list like this in your to-do list is you might want to filter the ones that are important for today. And it's as easy as clicking on any of these options up here. These are your fast filters. So if I want to see what's due today, I'll just click right here on due today. And then it will filter my list to just show me what's due today. Maybe I want to see my past dues only. Past due, I click on that, and there's all my past due tasks. Very simple way to organize this list. But occasionally you may need to get even deeper into your organization. And so I'm going to clear this filter, but you see 2 options to help you find the tasks that need to be done right now. You can search for a task. We can say follow and search for the word follow, where these are the ones that have the word follow up in them. I might search for the word buyer. These are the ones that have the word buyer in them. So you can easily find a task if you're looking for something specific. But really the power comes in this button right here, filter. And let's take a look at all the ways we can filter our tasks. So the first thing you see is I can filter tasks that have been set by smart due dates, like we did earlier. So I can hit smart due dates and apply. And then boom, those are all my smart due date tasks that I need to get done right there. Let's take a look at some more filters. We have our same filters we have for time right here, no different. The only addition is you see you can also find the custom range of tasks. So if you want to look for a task that you set for a specific date range, you can just click on this last option and drop in the start and end date of where you think that task might be, or where you want to look at tasks in a certain range. The rest of those are very self-explanatory. Below that, we can just filter repeating tasks. If I say command, just show me the repeating tasks that I've created and hit apply. Well, I don't have any repeating tasks right now, so they're all gone. There's nothing that's showing up. Let's take a look at the next filter, our priority. This is the important one, y'all. If you are diligent about setting high, medium, and low priority in your tasks, this is great for when you need to get to the most important stuff. My day got away from me. I only have 10 minutes to make my task list happen. Let me look at my high priority tasks. And there they are. These are the ones that have the highest priority, and you can see they're organized by the due date, from the ones that are past due down to the ones that are due furthest into the future. And we can layer on these filters. I might want to say high priority, due today. And so I can just see the ones that are due today to get to the ones that are most important. So let's clear these off and take a look at the last few. We can filter by task type. If you're like, well, I'm just doing my prospecting calls this morning and I just want to see my call tasks, we can just filter our call tasks. If we want to come in here and just filter our text message tasks, we can do that. Or other are ones that are set to not call or text, which those are my tasks like emails. Those are my tasks like sending a personal note. Those are my tasks that I might just set for specific reasons that are not necessarily communications in calls or text messages. It is all the other ones that come in there. And just like we talked about earlier, where contacts, opportunities are the two different types of tasks that we have them linked to, we can just see our opportunity tasks and just see all the ones that we created for Gary earlier in our opportunity. If we're just focused on our opportunity follow-ups or our opportunity tasks, our business pipeline tasks, we can organize those right here. We can come in and say, well, I just want to focus on my contact tasks, the ones that I'm actually connected into a contact from a manual or a smart plan task that has shown up. And there they all are. And then finally, down at the bottom of this, we have a few other filters where we can say where they were created. We can even say, just show me the opportunities created, ones that were created by me, or ones that were specifically created by a smart plan. And there's our open house tasks that we saw me put on earlier that all are in my list for me to see if I need to see those, if I want to get ahead of those, anything like that. And that is it on the filters. It is a very, very powerful tool to help you get this list organized and completed. Now, a lot of what I've showed you just so far is just filtering them, but then there's multiple actions you can do in here to actually complete, to change the task, to make adjustments, to archive, all of those different options. And so let's go through some of those. The first action you should want to know is, how do I complete a task? And here's a big misconception. Agents think that they can come over here and check off multiple tasks, but look at the bottom of the screen. Do you see a complete option? No, no option to complete in multiple steps, because you should not be clearing a task list in bulk. You should be completing your task one at a time, that when it finishes, you then check it off. And to check it off, you're going to hit the check mark. And so if I want to complete this task, I just hit the check mark on the side here. And now it is completed. It's now moved back over to the completed task side of things right in here. So let's go back to do. Now we can also, one task at a time, if I see call Danny back, past due, and I'm like, crap, I cannot call Danny. I know Danny told me that he's going to be out of town today. I don't want to call him today. So let me set this for the future. And those three dots to the right side of the screen over here, that's how you can reschedule tasks. I can edit a task, pulls up the exact task. The only thing, y'all, that I can't change is right here. I can't change it from a call task to a text task. That's the only thing that is not editable. Everything else is, from title to description, link, priority, due date, repetition. All of that is editable if we need it to be for a certain task. Now, this is the one that I use probably too often, y'all, is reschedule. Or if I want to change the due date for calling Danny back, I'm going to hit reschedule, and there's two options here that really three options that we have to extend. We can say extend by a number of days and say, well, I'm going to call him. It was scheduled for the 17th. And so I'm going to actually put it 6 days out. 7 days out, 8 days out. And I love this little feature right here where, as you see, I'm clicking up It changes the date, so it tells me what due date it will have based on the number of days I'm increasing it by. And then I can hit reschedule. And then now Danny's task moves down to call Danny back. Here he is right here. And now it's set for the 26th. Now, if I come up and I click on reschedule for follow up with Jeff, I can change that from extend by a number of days. I can just pick the calendar day too. If I know I just want to call him back on the 31st, because I know Jeff loves Halloween, I'm going to just call him back on the 31st and hit reschedule. Easy as that. Now, the third option you might have seen in there is the one I never use. I never use the third option, which is to, oh, sorry, wrong button, y'all. If I come in here and reschedule, the other option is to set no due date. And that's the one I never use, but it is in there if you need it. Now, some of those actions we can actually do with multiple at a time. And so I actually want to just get rid of these past due tasks, but I don't want to get rid of them in terms of making them go archived or disappear. I just want them scheduled for a day I can actually get to them. So I'm going to filter my past due. And you see now we just have this list of past due, and I'm going to select all of them. And I can select all of them by clicking on this little button right next to the task title. And now I have all of my past dues selected. And then look down here at the bottom right corner for me. Reschedule, change priority, or archive. These are our bulk options. So if I want to reschedule all these tasks for Monday next week when I can get them done, I'll do so and hit reschedule. And now, goodbye past due tasks. Now they all have a due date that I can get to them in. You see, they're all due now in the next 7 days. Super easy way to get your task list up to date and on days that you can commit to getting them done. I'll bring you all back to what I said at the beginning of the class. Making time to do this is important. Life happens, though. I know life happens. I have a 13-year-old. Life happens, y'all. Sometimes you're not going to meet your time to get this done. This is how you make sure they don't get lost, that they don't get overwhelming, is you reschedule them for a day that you can commit to doing them. Now, on Monday, I might need to assign more time in my schedule since I've just added 15 tasks to my list. This is the part that you have to do on your own. You have to make the time to do it, but this will help you organize that time. So when you do sit down to make this happen, you know what you need to do. All right, let me make sure I got over all the actions. Oh, one we didn't talk about is you can see in just one of these tasks, I can come in here and edit the task, reschedule, archive. I can come in here and select multiple, and we can change priority. So if we want to raise the priority or change it for all of these tasks, I can do so in here from all of them to a selection of specific tasks that I might want to do. Now we also can come in and click on these, and there's an add note option where if I want to add a note to this client, maybe I called them and they couldn't answer. They said, hey, can you call me back in a couple of days? And I still want to record my interaction. So I put in here and I might say, called and couldn't talk. Will call back on Friday. Add note. Now that note has been added to that contact timeline. And then I'll come in here and reschedule this for Friday, which is tomorrow. Now I am staying consistent. You all can see how simple it is to manage these things, but you have to learn this tool to be as fluent as I am as I show it to you now. It doesn't just come overnight or you join this class and now all this information's in your brain. You need to come in here and start working it. You need to start with just utilizing this tool because you will get to my level of proficiency when you start using it, but it is a path to proficiency. So that means start setting tasks, start using smart plans, and utilize this task manager. Your habit that you want to create is being in here every day that you work. If you work a day without looking at your task list, did you work? Did you complete everything you needed to do? Who knows? But if you complete your task list, you do know that you've done everything you need to do for that day. And the more diligent you can be, that everything that needs to happen for your business shows up as a reminder in this list, you will become more systematic. And becoming more systematic in your tasks will help you be more systematic in your business, because at some point you're going to be like, gosh, every time I schedule a buyer appointment, I set these 5 tasks. Well, that's what turns into your opportunities checklist. Every time I meet someone at an open house, I do these 6 tasks. That's what turns into a smart plan for you. Folks, this is how you become systematic. It doesn't happen automatically. And I know so many people on this call have tried to take a system from someone else, have downloaded a smart plan from the library, and all it does is fill your task list with stuff you never do, because it's not yours. It's not your system. If you want to develop your systems, start using your tasks. They will start to come out. You will start to see the patterns of what you do in your business and what needs to happen. And that's how you start building these other pieces of command, from smart plans to the opportunities checklist. It all starts here, y'all. I'm so happy that you're all here with me today, because this is where it starts. If you want to be more systematic, but you've had trouble doing it in the past, start with step 1, which is just knowing what needs to happen each day. That is all you have to worry about. And the more you use the task list, the easier it's going to get. I've now shown you everything that this can do. It's not that complicated of a tool. You've seen all of the ways to create a task. You've seen all of the ways to manage your tasks. Now it is on you to get in there and start setting your tasks and then completing them. And it all starts with defining that time. Let's jump back into the list and let's see what questions we have before we jump into our mobile option. Okay. Question on the chat was, are there any ways to export the task list to the Google Calendar? No, there is not. It is something that has been asked for through KW and agents before. They are working on some kind of integration. I would not expect it to be in there. I'll tell you the best way to integrate it into your calendar is set the time in your calendar and turn on the reminder in your Google Calendar so it buzzes on your phone to say it's time to sit down and check your command task list. That is the best thing to do, because otherwise there's no other connection into your external task lists. And then Kathleen asked how to text from command. Kathleen, let me show you real quick. If I see that I have a text task, which I don't think I have any built into my examples right now, but let's just let's create one. Create, and we're going to link a contact. This is another way to do it from not going through the contact screen, but let's put Gary Keller in here. And we're going to say we're going to text Gary and link him. And we're going to change this to a text task, and we're going to make it due today, just for the example and for time. We only have 5 minutes left, y'all. Oh, need to put in the task name. Thank you, text. Create. And then we'll come down and find our thank you text to Gary. So one way to text from command is I can just click on Gary's name. That opens up the contact. And if I click on their name, I can see send text with Twilio. You can also use WhatsApp. If you're a WhatsApp user, you can use WhatsApp to text them as well. But to send text from Twilio, it's this easy. We can then type in our message, and this is all being sent through Twilio, where once again, you do need to have a Twilio account operating to do so. And Twilio does have a monthly cost, but it starts at less than $5 a month to get started with Twilio. And many new agents or agents that only send a few dozen text messages a month, you'll be fine with the $3.18 a month plan. I personally am on a $20 a month plan, which I send text messages multiple times to over 600 people each month. And I spend about $20 a month on Twilio. And so you can see, usually my annual budget is less than $150 a year. And I do a lot of text messaging through Twilio because I do a lot of events for the agents that I text message. That's who most of mine go to. So if you've ever received a text message from me, it's most likely coming from Twilio, y'all. Those check-in text messages, those quarterly messages, all of you get, even if you don't realize it, those are all coming through my Twilio that I've set up through Smart Plans. And so easy stuff. Let's see. Any other questions? I see any way to change the column width in the task screen? Good question. And I believe what you're asking is to be able to change this here. And the answer is no. It is set to what it is here. Best option there is to click on the task title if you want to see the rest, where you get the full information here. You can see the more information that there is in there, the easier it is to see all of that information. I also love that I have my tags right here, last contacted, phone number. I have all the information I need for my contact if I need to connect with them in some other way. All right, I think, oh, one more. Can you please share the recording of this video via email? Yes, absolutely. So that's a great way to wrap this up. This class will be posted on my YouTube channel later today. I will be emailing out everyone who registered for this class with a copy of the email and a way to review this class. I really appreciate the evaluations and reviews of my classes. I take them very seriously, and I hope that everyone on the call today does do a review. That is what I'm hoping. And wait for that email. If you did not register, if you just jumped into the calendar link on the schedule or through an email, but you didn't register, please put your email in the chat now, and I will make sure that you get this all the information as well, the video link, the evaluation link. Just drop your email in the chat, and I am happy to send that through to you. All right, Alex, I just got yours. Awesome. I know that was a shotgun style class, y'all. It is a great tool. I hope you all take this forward. If anything was confusing, if anything you didn't quite get, or you're just sitting there like, well, what does this mean for me? You need more guidance in this. Schedule a 60-minute one-on-one. Schedule a 30-minute one-on-one. I can help you understand this even deeper for your business if we can sit down together. Thank you all for being here. I love teaching this stuff. Let me know in the evaluation form what you thought, what other classes you want to see. Thank you all for being here one more time. And that is all we had for today. Y'all have a great day.